At last, conclusion, evaluation, and bibliography in internal assessment group for science in IBDP. You remember my map. And then at the final part, we have conclusion, then evaluation, and then bibliography. I will explain these three items in this video. First of all, conclusion. Many students think that conclusion is the summary of what happened. Actually, it's not like that. Consider the validity of your hypothesis based on the outcome of your scientific investigation. So you have some results and you had a hypothesis. Consider to what extent the results you have obtained are in agreement or disagreement, to what extent they are in agreement or disagreement with your hypothesis. Actually, you should restate your research question, restate your hypothesis, and discuss whether your data supports or rejects it. Justify your conclusion through the results obtained. Don't worry if you have a full disagreement, if your data are totally in contradiction with what you have hypothesized already. It's okay, no problem. In short, I can say you had a title and then you had a hypothesis as an answer to your research question, to your title, and then results you obtained according to your experiment or the data collected. Okay? And then in conclusion, you will check to what extent your results can support your hypothesis, and actually your hypothesis is the answer to your research question. In conclusion, please stick to your research question. I suggest discuss if your research question has been considered or not. It is very important. Oh, not is not good. So you should discuss that it has already been considered. If your data are not supporting or partially supporting your research question, express it in precise way. Don't worry. Tell them to what extent the research question was supported, but don't say why. You have a question now. Sir, when should I say why? Good. The answer to this question is here. The reason for agreement or disagreement, the reason between the research question and results is presented in evaluation. So in evaluation, you will have enough space to talk about some possible reasons that you had some disagreements. Criterion 4, the last criterion in IA, is highly related to your evaluation. When you can get 6 marks, when your evaluation is highly related to your methodology. So evaluation is going to be highly relevant to your methodology, not your research question. What should I do? What worked well during the experiment? Tell the reader in a very, very clear way. Were there any mistakes in the lab setup or while performing the experiment? Explain them. Were the results clear enough or did your mistakes affect the results? How? Let me give you an outline. For evaluation, we can have an outline like this. Validity, strength of your experiment, limitations, weaknesses of your experiment, and extensions, applications, suggestion for more investigation. These are the things you should mention. Actually, let me go over them one by one in detail. Validity is strongness or strength of your experiment. First of all, what are good points in your experiment? What worked well? How did your approach help you to do the precise measurements? And mention positive points or assumptions about your method to make sufficient data sets. You see, all are related to your method. In your limitations, weaknesses of your experiment, mention what did not work well during your experiment. Talk about the possible weaknesses of your measurements. You necessarily will have some possible mistakes or weaknesses in your measurements. Mention them. If you have any weird result like outliers, talk about them. If you have any weird result like a very weird graph, let's say you have obtained 3 different graphs, first and the second are linear, but the last one is not linear. Okay, this is a weird result. Explain it and talk about it. And if you can mention some credible resources to justify that, it's very good place to justify it based on those specific resources you mentioned. In extension, you may suggest applications and suggestion for more investigation. Mention some application for your investigation. Necessarily, you are working in science and your investigation will have or can have some applications. Mention them and suggest more research questions for further investigation. Tell the reader that there are some more possible research questions for more investigation. It's very good. And I suggest also, if you have learned something, mention the lessons you have learned. Also, it gives a high value to your investigation because the reason for this type of investigation is learning. Now I am reading part of the academic integrity guide in IB. The IB expects students to produce genuine and authentic pieces of work that represent their own abilities. That's the IB wants to support content creators, not content imitators. Students should give credit where credit is due. So, be honest and transparent and recognize how previous work is influencing or supporting your own work. Please generate a formal bibliography. All along your investigation, save your resources in Word or Google Doc draft in a proper way and generate a bibliography at the end of your IA report. It gives a high value to your investigation and shows your academic honesty. And thank you very much for watching this video. If you find it useful, please suggest it to others, to the people who are gonna have improvement in their investigation. See you soon.